Good afternoon. My name is Jose Adorno. I'm the distance learning coordinator in at Advance. And today we have Mary Kate that will be presenting for us, creating collaborative opportunities in the blended learning classroom. Before I pass the call to Mary Kate, right? Just a couple quick things. The first thing, we have technical support available to assist adult education providers and professionals. You can sign up for technical support session at the link here. This will be shared with you with the BDs, so that way you could see, you could schedule. We updated this here, so it's easier for you to see like what programs you need to support with. We also have the Digital ATD and On-Demand Videos app that offers short curated videos on the programs agencies use. You can click on the link here and you could access videos on Google, Nearpod, Screencastify, and more. We also have monthly, we distribute newsletters that provide information about the current programming, updates pertaining the adult education field, as well as highlighting any new projects on the horizon. It's a great way to stay informed. You have links to ATDN, and you have a link for the digital ATDN. The last newsletter came out today, the latest, and that one is focusing on North Star toolkit that was released and some information there as well. Last but not least, we have our next session, which is a week from now on the 19th, also from 3 to 4, and is using Nearpod to build an interactive and collaborative class. You could click, when you receive these, click here and it'll take you there as well. Thank you very much. We're no longer ado. Passing you to Mary Kate. Thank you for presenting for us.
Oh, my pleasure. Hi, everybody. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Enjoyed the first snow of this season this morning. I unfortunately was driving home in it late last night, so it was a little bit, I'm not sure I enjoyed it very much then, but I very much enjoyed not having to wake up my teenagers this morning at 6 a.m. and let everybody sleep in a little bit, because it was needed for us all at that point. So I'm thrilled to be here today and to discuss creating collaboration activities in the blended learning classroom. We're going to have some fun collaborating ourselves today. So thank you so much, Jose, and the introduction. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on in. So our agenda today, let me just get my, there we go, get my screens aligned the way I want them. We're going to review the benefits and best practices for collaborative learning while participating in collaborative Jamboard activities, because we can't talk about collaborative learning, we need to experience it. So we have many different protocols that we're going to navigate through today. And secondly, we're going to investigate and identify a strategy for using Jamboard as a collaboration tool with your learners. So that is going to be the primary tool that we're going to be using in a number of different ways today. And I hope that by the end of today, you have some ideas of how you might use Jamboard as a vehicle for collaboration, whether it be in person or in virtual learning. So again, some of our objectives relating right to that agenda that I had mentioned is to review the benefits of collaborative learning, and as well as best practices, to investigate the collaborative features of Jamboard, identify strategies for using Jamboard in both in-person and distance learning, and of course, last but not least, to create a collaborative learning activity using Jamboard. So let's go ahead and dive in. So before we get started, I want you to take a few minutes to think about, where do you find collaboration to be beneficial in your day-to-day experience? All right, so before I'm going to ask you to do anything with that, we're going to go through a brainwrite and discussion protocol. And I want you to just take 60 seconds to sit with that question. If you have anything in front of you, sticky notes, scrap paper, whatever, or just want to sit with that question in your head, I'm going to ask you to just sit with it for 60 seconds and brainwrite either in your head, on paper, whatever you want, your thoughts on where you find collaboration to be the most beneficial. So as we're at around the end of that minute or so, and hopefully you have some ideas of where you might find collaboration to be the most beneficial in your day. If you're like me, usually the top 3 things that pop into my mind are not the best ones. So I do like to sit with that question for a bit. In the chat, I put a link to our first Jamboard for our first activity today. So I'd like you to take a look at the chat. And in the chat, there is a link here to our first Jamboard. And once we're there, I'm going to have you either choose the sticky note. I'm going to go ahead just in my screen share here. If you have not used Jamboard, just a quick we'll take a look at Jamboard together. Over here on the left-hand side is the menu of different functions. And this one right here in the middle is a sticky note feature where you can type something onto the sticky note and hit save. Or there's also a text box down there. So if you would be so kind to maybe share one of the answers to that question that you had thought of, where you find collaboration to be the most beneficial in your day-to-day experience. Already 2 amazing suggestions. Oh, I'm going to go ahead. I think you see my that pink one there. Carpool was mine. That's the first thing that came to mind. Carpool. That if I don't have to drive everybody everywhere. And as you write your answers, again, I would encourage you to take a look at some of the sticky notes that our community is putting up here in front of us. It's so many wonderful ideas. Again, you guys have really came with so many wonderful things to share about collaboration already and how you use it in your professional life. And the first thing that came to mind, carpool and packing school lunches. So 2 things that I don't like to do on my own, that I always rely on the help of others. But wonderful. Thank you for sharing. I think there's a few more coming. Hopefully collaboration helps to work faster and more efficiently. Exactly. Of course. That is the hope. That's why we're here, to also to meet as a professional learning community, to learn how to hopefully work smarter. Right? What is the saying? Smarter, not harder, right? Awesome. Well, thank you guys for sharing. I'm going to go ahead back to our page here, and we'll keep flipping through. So again, thank you so much for sharing your experiences in our warm-up activity. And based on the responses, I believe we all agree that collaboration plays an important role in our everyday lives. So it's no surprise that collaboration plays a really important role in education in the workplace. So this list here is brought to you by the Center for Teaching Innovation through Cornell University. They have identified 7 reasons for collaboration, which I have listed on this slide. And they are to develop higher level thinking skills in students, that collaboration boosts confidence and increases self-esteem. Collaboration allows us to enhance our social and interpersonal skills, help understanding of diverse perspectives, improve leadership skills, and preparation for employment situations. So all things that we want for both ourselves and our learners. So of course, why would collaborate? For all of these reasons. So let's keep on going here. So I think we can, again, all reflect on the fact that collaboration is so important that I wanted to share a study that I found to be really interesting. The study was called the State of Collaborative Learning 2022, and it was a research study brought by Edutopia. And in this survey, the research study asked 137 learning design professionals who responded to the EduFlow survey question about the importance of collaborative learning. And this included questions on sentiment and application, such as the importance of collaborative learning, how often collaborative learning takes place in their organizations, and also, of course, the effect of the pandemic and remote work on collaborative learning. And further, it also asked about barriers that prevented the adoption of collaborative learning and the context in which collaborative learning is appropriate. So not to bury the lead here, but the research showed that 80% of people said that collaborative learning is important or essential. And I'm sure that that's not the surprise. The surprise is only 20% of practitioners were actually engaging or leveraging collaborative learning with any frequency. So with that in mind, in our next protocol here, I want to take a look at that study and kind of dive into that a little bit more. So we are going to do a jigsaw activity. If you're familiar with that, the way that works is that on our next Jamboard, I have small sections of that article that have already been loaded into the Jamboard as a background. We're gonna divide the text amongst us so that everyone will start with a different section of the study. And I want to take about 5 minutes or so just to take a look at some of the review of the findings and reflect on what you see on that slide. You can use sticky notes for any questions, thoughts, insights, or take the pen or highlighter tool and make markings on the background or that piece of text as needed, if you find anything that you think would be interesting. Again, here, in these 5 minutes, the expectation is not that you go through all the slides, although you're welcome to if time allows. But if we each take a small section of it, then we can come back together as a large group and just mention any of those thoughts or insights that you would want to share from this study of maybe why only 20% of practitioners are actually engaging in collaborative learning. So with that being said, I have a new link to share with you here in our, let's see, come on, Zoom. Here it is. Okay, so new link there on our Google Jamboard. And I think, let's see here. If we want to divide this up, maybe we can say there's what we're going to see here is 3 different slides. So Ryan and Fernando, do you want to start with our color commentary, the blue slide? And then we can say maybe Faye and Annika, if you want to start on slide number 2, which goes on to slide number 3, the green. And Mary, if you want to start on slide number 3, and we're all starting in different places on our color commentary. And let's take 3 or 4 minutes. If you're not sure, again, we can take a look at, you can move the arrow to go to the next frame, and that allows you to flip from one page to the next here. But I would love to take a few minutes and go through, again, this jigsaw protocol and start with the first finding, which was our first page that I had labeled our color commentary number 1. So we're all color coded here. So I think Ryan and Fernando, That's where you were going to start. Is there anything that you found for the first finding that was interesting, surprising, or anything that you would care to share with the group?
I thought it was pretty interesting in this that it says that if they had, more experience, there was, more of belief in collaboration, just because I feel as if, the longer you're in a job, the more, you're set into doing like what you're supposed to be doing. So the fact that there still wants to be collaboration is good. Um, so that's what I thought was pretty interesting.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's go on to our second color commentary number 2. I took finding number 2 and split it over 3 slides, so that way it's already small enough for my eyes to see. So I think on this slide, we had mentioned maybe Faye, Annika, was there anything that you found in the second finding of this study to be interesting or that you would want to share?
I think that I disagree with the idea that it can't happen both in person and online, because I know I've dealt with in the past collaborative experiences that are both failed and have been good when you meet in person. And now that I'm semi-retired, I more often have collaborative experiences online. And whether it's just 2 people or a group of a dozen people online, it's worked when it's scheduled and you have an agenda.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Annika, or anyone else who had taken some time to look at this one too. I know there's a number of different sticky notes there, but so if anyone wants to jump in, please feel free to do so. If you had taken any time to peek through these 2 slides, please feel free to jump in and share. I thought it was interesting too, and I noticed here in the sticky note that someone put on the top right-hand side that goes right to the title there is finding number 2. Only 20% of organizations do collaborative learning more than once a month. So if we think about what our day-to-day looks like as educators, as people in the learning community, to think that we're only that it doesn't happen more than once a month for many different learning communities, it seems like a really small number in which there's so many different ways that we can collaborate together on a day-to-day basis, a weekly basis. So again, this was, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, being that math person, 20% is normal because 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people.
That's a good point. Good point. Again, this one went on to the last part there that only 50% of respondents said that COVID impacted their collaborative learning. I found that surprising too, because COVID impacted so much of our lives. Would have been assumed that would almost have been a higher number.
Now, my daughter that works for the state and started working for the state just before or just as COVID hit, I think, yeah, just after COVID hit. So she does a lot of her work online, but she has regular meetings with her immediate coworkers as well as I think either weekly or every other week with the wider group department. And so, and she works in education for the state.
So many organizations, as we know, had to pivot so fast. So it was remarkable that so many people had responded that it didn't impact as much as I assumed it would. So I thought that's an interesting part of the study. All right. Again, I have all these linked for you if you want to dive into this more. It's a short article out, but I have any of the resources that I'm talking about today. I have all linked and ready to share with you at the end of a presentation today. All right. So the last finding was the surprising roots of the collaborative learning paradox. Mary, I believe maybe you started there, but if anyone else took a look at this slide and wants to share any takeaways on finding number 3.
I can jump in.
Yeah,
I was
please.
looking at commentary 3. So Mary had highlighted the surprise here was that the most or the assumption was that the barrier was technology,
Mhm.
but it wasn't technology. It was the skill gap
Mhm.
of, of doing it well. So I just put in there that like building a structure that guides students to practice collaboration in control settings, like including guided questions or a checklist to make sure everyone covers the objective of the collaboration.
Mhm.
Sometimes in this is perfect, like sometimes we assume that certain population knows the activity, and then when we send them off, then it's like the students don't know what to do, or they just look at each other. Oh, what are we gonna do here? They end up collaborating, but not in class. They start talking about something else, right?
Exactly, right.
So it was an interesting point that wasn't technology the main focus.
Absolutely. So again, I would encourage anyone who has 5 extra minutes today. I'll share the links at the end. I did think it was a really interesting study to sit back and reflect on, and it was a lot of what also was, as I was formulating this professional development, this webinar today, that I kept in the back of my mind as we were going through it. All right. So let's keep on going and talking a little bit more about our collaboration, and then pivot over to some best practices in collaborative learning. So the research study that we just looked at demonstrates the importance of collaborative learning despite often being underutilized. So the question I want us to sit with for a second is that as educators, what are some best practices that we can establish with our students? And I'm sure that many of us here today have had experiences, as I think we had just discussed, as Faye had mentioned, some work great, some don't work great, some you try out and you go, that didn't work as well as I thought it might be. So for this next activity and this next protocol, we're going to look at the George Washington University Graduate School of Education and Human Development identified 10 strategies for building student collaboration in the classroom. So for this activity today, again, we are going to utilize Jamboard to take a look at those 10 strategies mentioned in the article. And what I want to do, I'm going to just quickly share this as a screen share before I go ahead and share the link with you. But we're going to have 10 strategies to build on student collaboration in the classroom. And here we have, I've already put those 10 strategies from the article on sticky notes. And I'm going to ask you to take a look at those, to think about how you've used them in your professional practice. And, or if you haven't, that's okay too, but to kind of sort through these sticky notes and on a gradient of most important to most effective, all the way down to least important and least effective. And of course, if there's a tie, you can stack these sticky notes on top of each other and kind of reflect on some of these strategies that maybe that you have used in the past. So I do think I have enough of these pages for each of us here. I'm going to go ahead and share this link. Now, in this protocol here, you'll see that on this Jamboard, I have the same page duplicated so that there is a page for each of us who are attending here today to have a page of their own. So we're going to just go straight through here. So let's see here. We'll go from top to bottom. So Faye, I'm going to go ahead and just put you on page number 1. I'm going to go down the list here. And Ryan, so you can be on page number 2. All right, and Fernando. Oops. Put you on number 3. Jose, I'm not sure, Everett. I have to duplicate one for you. I'm not sure I made you your own page here today.
And I'm not fine. Is it on the?
I have not. I'm sorry. I have not shared this yet.
Okay.
So I am talking as I'm sorting here, and I need to share this with you.
See, Jose
I
just put a
posted it.
link up, right?
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Jose. Right. Did I get everybody? I think I did. If I missed somebody, we can definitely make another duplicate. All right. So Jose, you put that in the chat. Oh, there is everybody. Wonderful. Okay. So I just added everybody's name to one of the slides. So if you want to go to the slide that was assigned to you and just take a few minutes to sort, I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share again. Now that we've had a chance to sit and reflect on some of those best practices and how you have found them to have impacted your learners, I want to then use that and pivot to our fourth protocol, our fourth activity that we're going to do today, which is going to be a think, pair, share. So using the 10 strategies that you just have looked at and have sorted, we're going to go break out into 2 breakout rooms. And in the breakout room, I would encourage you to, if you can start your mic or to chat or to meet as your a breakout room of, I think we have about maybe 3 people, and then Jose, you and I can split up however it might make most sense. And let's go break into 2 rooms and to go through some of those best practices as some links there that I think are excellent resources. There are some links for templates for Jamboard, again, to get the juices flowing of how you might be able to use different backgrounds or templates in Jamboard to create collaborative opportunities for your learners. Even some of the ones that I was looking at that were very much for younger elementary students that gave me ideas as I was, again, planning for this meeting that we are having here today, this webinar. So I would encourage you to click through those if you're interested, to think about how we used different resources today, how we did different protocols today in this learning community, and to think about how you could, again, expand that into the community of, into your classrooms in virtual, in person, and with the learners that you're working with this year. This is a great time for Jose and I to start playing with that. If you need help with Jamboard, I would love to help you with that. And you can sign up for a session. We can find some time together to work through some of the ideas that you have and put together a Jamboard and maybe work through some of those technical pieces. So Jose, do you want to plug that again? A help session, come on, help sessions.
There you go.
Good.
So we added there the Calendly tech support. We schedule for like about 20 minutes. It doesn't need to be 20 minutes. If it's a quick question that you have, you jump in, you want to see something, how it looks like, we could show you. We just put 20 minutes just to give us enough time to kind of go over what you would like to cover during that time. But anything that you need with that, we also have the app as well that has short videos that you can look at, and I'll be putting that there in a second as well. But thank you very much for joining today and spending some time with us. This sun is actually looking nice compared to how it was this morning. And thank you, Mary Kate, for presenting.
Thank
for
you.
us.
Thank you, everybody, for taking an hour to come together, to come collaborate with us.
Thank you.